everyone, it's Movie Lover 120 here, and yeah, I noticed a change of room. Well, my area is going through a bit of a heat wave, so I've moved my recording studio downstairs to escape the heat wave, because it's really hot upstairs in my actual studio, so, because we're in the middle of a heat wave, just kick off the summer. Yeah, so anyway, with that being said, welcome. I am back with a brand new movie review. I had a bit of a break because, well, I've already mentioned the heat wave also drained any energy of me being able to make any actual review videos where I talk to a camera. But anyway, here it goes. This weekend I actually watched a notorious movie of the 90s, one that's pretty controversial, and I decided I will make this my next review. And yes, guys, my review is going to be for none other than 1992's Paul Verhoeven's most controversial movie ever. Basic Instinct, known for a few things. One, known for having a whole lot of sex. And two, known for, well, yeah, mostly just known for having a whole lot of sex in this movie. That's pretty much his most notorious moments. This was the third film directed by Paul Verhoeven, director of one of my favorite sci-fi movies ever, RoboCop, and of course another great movie, Total Recall, both excellent masterpieces. Even after this movie, he directed Starship Troopers, which is an underrated gem, and he directed the notoriously bad movie Showgirls and Hollow Man, but I can forget those, but a lot of people seem to... this movie's not as well received by critics as RoboCop and Total Recall were, but some people did like it. It was still pretty famous for a few things. One, the whole lot of sex, and it got controversy for it. But however, despite that, it made a buckload of money at the box office. It was pretty popular when it came out. It made over $352 million worldwide and became the fourth highest grossing movie of 1992. Behind films such as Disney's Aladdin, The Bodyguard, and Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. It even had to be edited about a few seconds to avoid an NC-17 rating, and then several. However, eventually, an unrated director's cut, with the footage that was not shown in the cinemas, was eventually released, and that's of course this cut I'm showing I have. I found this at my only video store that's left in my area. Yes, guys, it's not Blockbuster. It's an unknown one you guys probably don't know about. It's only really in my area called Black Dog Video. It's the only video store I have left in my area, so yeah. I very much found this, and I decided I want to review this, so I picked it up. And I rewatched it. No, I didn't rewatch it. I hadn't even seen this movie before I bought it. I watched it for the first time this weekend during the heat wave, and I gotta say, I thought it was a pretty great movie. I think it's better than the critics on Rotten Tomatoes give it for. Some people even have to agree with me. It's actually a pretty decent film. It's not like a masterpiece by any means, but for an erotic thriller, which I'm never a fan of, I think this one's probably the best one I've seen. Probably the only one I really like. If you were a 90s kid, sometimes you'd probably find your parents watching this some reason, and if you were almost about to enter the room, they'd be like, go, get out, this movie's not appropriate for you, go. Yeah. Or often known, or if you were a 90s teenager, then a 90s teenager would probably rent this at their local video store and just hide it from their parents and watch it while they were absent. That's pretty much what it was. And so around 2006, it got a piece of shit sequel 14 years later called Basic Instinct 2 Risk Addiction, which sucks ass. And that's all I'm going to say about it. The end. Alright, let's get on with this movie. What is this movie about? Well, a former rock star, Johnny Boz, is brutally killed during sex, and the case is assigned to Detective Nick Curran, played by Michael Douglas, of the SFPD. During the investigation, Nick meets Catherine Tremell, played by Sharon Stone. a crime novelist who was Boz's girlfriend when he died. Catherine proves to be a very clever and manipulative woman, and though Nick is more or less convinced that she murdered Boz, he is unable to find any evidence. Later, when Nilsson, Nick's rival in the police, is killed, Nick suspects of Catherine's involvement in it. He then starts to play a dangerous, lust-filled mind game with Catherine to nail her. But as their relationship progresses, the body count rises and contradicting evidence forces Nick to start questioning his own suspicions about Catherine's guilt. Yeah, that's what the movie's about. And like I said, I personally love this movie for what it is. I mean, yeah, it's wickedly inappropriate and wickedly adult. But however, how does one begin a review of what is arguably the most controversial movie of the 90s? Well, I'll say that yeah, people can say Basic Instinct is complete trash with nothing residing beneath its glitzy surface. It's actually also a riveting psychological thriller, with Douglas and Stone providing an impressive double in a refreshingly gripping film. While I won't go deep into plot detail like I've already done, though, since the story is kind of part of Hollywood folklore, but in summary, the plot sounds familiar because it's probably due to the fact that Basic Instinct is kind of a combination of writer Joe Ezra's film Jagged Edge and director Paul Verhoeven's film The Fourth Man, both of which had their fair share of sex and fashionable violence. Despite this, Basic Instinct is still enjoyable, and I haven't seen either of those films I haven't seen either of those films, but it didn't really have an effect of me watching this film. Everyone, or those of you who have seen the film, have discovered that the story runs into an intense sexual chess game between a San Francisco detective and a vivid writer. My favorite quote from Nick, the detective, "But you said you liked men to use their hands." And probably my favorite character from favorite quote from Catherine Trumbull, "No, I said I liked Johnny to use his hands." There's a few things they kind of have in common. Catherine Trumbull loves Coke and Jack Daniels. She's enigmatic, cool, frank, penetrating, in complete command of herself. Her character holds men in her grip, especially to the iconic scene in the movie where she crosses her legs, I'll demonstrate my fingers, while not wearing underwear. Yeah, in the interrogation room. Which is probably a very iconic scene. And she masters every kind of type of attraction. In fact, she's probably one of my favorite female villainesses because of the wonderful performance from Sharon Stone. I think this is probably my favorite Sharon Stone character to date. Because her acting in this movie is quite superb. And as although she's easily the least probable femme fatal ever to grace, really, the silver screen, Stone still plays her with such skill, we can't really take our eyes off her, especially. Actually, it should also be pointed out that she becomes rather less intriguing after the first 40 minutes when she does start dating Michael Douglas's character. So her character loses a great deal of her mystique and her personality has less bite, really. But of course, sorry guys, I haven't done reviews in days. And now let's get on with Nick, the cop, played by Michael Douglas. He's the vice cop who drinks, does a little cocaine as well, and accidentally shoots 2 tourists in the line of duty. He's this troubled policeman who knows all about homicidal impulse. He's torn between 2 skilled women at psychology. One of the women is an evil manipulator even, and we can sense that Nick knows which one is the supposed killer, although Nick insists that he'll be strong enough to take her down. And then there's the third intriguing character of this movie, is Roxy, who's basically Catherine's lesbian lover. Roxy's this menacing blonde of the black Ferrari played by Aniana Sorel, who seems to not get jealous but to get excited. We see her wearing pants and a jacket and dancing with another woman, and she even lets Nick see Catherine with 2 men. One of them is this big body-built black guy even, and there's of course another interesting character as well. The police psychologist who helps Catherine understand homicidal impulse, such as Dr. Beth Garner, who's played by Jane Tripplehorn, is very good looking, dark-haired woman, really, but. And of course, there's a little funny cameo from Wayne Knight from Jurassic Park actually does play in this movie. I forget his character, but he is one of the officers, and I pretty much laugh seeing I just found it funny that Wayne Knight actually played in this movie. It's pretty hilarious. It's kind of hilarious. The male guy from Seinfeld, and the guy from Jurassic Park. But of course, not with film. This film was definitely not without flaws, though. No one, not even the director, could deny that Basic Instinct has such big plot holes you could park a car in them as for some of the events in the film to make sense. Characters were not. Characters would need to be either clairvoyant or in possession of otherworldly powers. The ending's also kind of a bit of a cop-out. I'm not going to reveal it, guys, as it's kind of just really engineered so that could be easily changed with a single edit if preview audiences would have been unsatisfied with the movie. Excuse me. And let's not forget the huge controversy that surrounded the film's release, with a particular furor being caused by feminists and lesbians over their portrayal in the film. The jury's still out on whether Basic Instinct is homophobic, but I don't think it is, as the character sexualized never really an issue, although it is kind of used as somewhat cheap plot device to titillate the audience. The cast made by feminists is kind of stronger, as all the women in the film are portrayed as dubious and potentially dangerous. The main defense against all this is that all the characters are really unpleasant, with perhaps one exception, and no discrimination is given in any way. And then there's, of course, let's not forget, the buckload of sex scenes. And although explicit in the film, these days they're kind of really passé. Really, but however, despite those flaws, I personally really enjoy Basic Instinct. If you are, hold on, in your 20s, guys, not if you're under 21, if you are under 21 years old, no, do not watch this movie if you are not 21 and over. This is an adults-only movie. So, but if you are 21 and up, maybe give this like one watch if you're a Paul Verhoeven fan. Really? It's very stylishly filmed, expertly paced, brilliantly directed, and has a superb music score from Jerry Goldsmith. And only watch this, avoid the stupid piece of shit sequel that was released in 2006, and just watch this. So, and that's pretty much it for my review of Basic Instinct, and here's how I'm going to rank it.
I am going to give Basic Instinct an 8 out of 10.
Alright, that pretty much wraps up my review for Basic Instinct. I have no idea when I'm going to review next, guys, but I'll hopefully think of something. But yeah, sorry it took so long to kind of make this review, guys. Like I said, I was in the middle of a heat wave. I didn't really have much energy to make a video, so yeah. But now that the heat wave's starting to finally cool down, I decided to get cracking on my videos again. And I was also kind of busy with work, so yeah. But anyway, that will be it for this review. Thank you all for watching. And if you'd like to want to see more, then don't forget to like and subscribe to Movie Lover 120.